sense an investment. But note I said, and I stress to a point, because beyond that point, then you're having diminishing returns. And I think that is a point that is being tested in all these amendments being offered. And that point differs for many persons. And the question is that you may lose a few members with any increase. But I would want to say that if the club dues was even 1,000 Jamaican dollars, possibly more may join, more persons will be joining. But the question is, does that equate to increased commitment and increased service? And what someone will tell you that it is easier to walk away from something at the first challenge if the cost to you is minimal. And I think that persons might walk away if they were paying $5,000 for dues. But when they're paying in excess of that, it gives them some leverage into the situation and they want to defend that investment. I think the challenge for the board is tough, but it is not insurmountable. So let us examine these amendments being proposed, bearing in mind all the foregoing that I have said. But I think on the face of it, amendment number 1, which is proposed by the International Board of a one-time increase, $77, $50, and $34 per tier, seems to me reasonable. And Kiwanis indicate that that would accrue to them an extra $4 million, which is just in line with the annual deficit that I alluded to earlier. It places us, that increase places us a bit below Optimus and Rotary, and just ahead of Sir Optimus and Lions in terms of dues. But the reality is, it is essentially a 47% increase for us in Jamaica, being in Tier B now. Because remember, we moved from Tier C to Tier B, which is where we are now. And I think, immediately we need to look at another amendment, which, if my interpretation is correct, highlights a bit of this ingenuity in its presentation. And that second amendment seeks to reduce the tiers from 3 to 2. Now you have to understand that the tier system was adopted in 2003 and sought to level the playing field based on gross national income. And so it was also seen as a discount or subsidy by the clubs in Tier A to the clubs in Tier B and Tier C. Now, Kiwanis International will tell you that while the tier system was originally designed to grow membership, those nations and districts have seen decrease in membership since enjoying a lower tier. However, decrease in membership is a phenomenon across the entire Kiwanis landscape. And against that trend, Eastern Canada and the Caribbean district is among the few areas growing, and I dare say primarily due to growth in the Caribbean. I will also allude to the cost of administrating a tier system, and they are prepared to accept a small loss to move from 3 tiers to 2. They will also try to persuade you by saying that similar service organizations, Rotary, etc., do not offer such a tier system. And although I personally view Kiwanis as leaders So we should not be followers or speaking about other organizations. But essentially, what is happening here? We would eliminate B and place us in Jamaica in tier 2. Now, this is where I see a little bit of paddling, because the document refers to $23, but that is accompanied by an asterisk with a notation that the dues will be the amount adopted by the delegates of amendments 1, 5, or 6. So in amendment 1, $34 is what we are looking at. In amendment 5, the proposal is for 30, 34, and 36 increase annually, ending in 26, 27. And proposal 6 proposed $42, 44, and 45. Well, let me conclude, and I will conclude on the dues in my closing remarks, but we go to amendment 3, and this seeks to reduce trustees from 15 to 12. When I look at the numbers, what I extrapolate is that each trustee is costing Kiwanis $6,250. But my only proviso in this amendment is if efficiency is not affected. And if the board is comfortable with reducing from 15 to 12, I would have no problem there. Now, I am not looking at the persons on, and I'm not, so if you need to stop me, just shout and stop me, and we can have a little discussion. The amendment 4, and President, are you able to show the amendments? Amendment
VP, what you have it? You have it. You want to screen share?
Jay, I will tell you that it has no financial impact, but what it do, it would provide the latitude to identify needing talents in an adjoining region or district if there was a lack of such in the target region. So the amendment seeks to bring a LG from another region if there's nobody coming forward in a particular region to be LG. Now we practice a rotation here in Jamaica, and I think it means well, as it seems to spread the authority from division to division. But I must tell you that it does not have my total support, as I would rather to opt for the best equipped and most suitable person to take office and assume duties on all occasions. And even if that person is coming from the same division, I would not personally have a problem with that. When we look at Amendment 5, it, as I said earlier, it phased the increase over a 3-year period. And it really is a credible alternate to Amendment 1, as it would ease the sudden shock, but it would end up at 36 instead of 34. And Amendment 1 would take you to 34. The problem I have is I do not know the administrative difficulties of these annual changes and what impact it would have if we are changing the due structure annually over a 3-year period. So, you know, that is something to consider. And amendment number 6 was phasing the dues over a 4-year period. And at the end of it, it would also have an annual incremental increase thereafter. Now, you would, if you are looking at the document, realize that KI only support this one conditionally. And if the others did not go through. And KI admit that this would provide them with more funds than they needed at this time. Now, while I agree that the organization must be treated as a business, I also do not think it should earn excessive profit. And so I would not be in favor of this amendment. The amendment number 7 seems to change the tier, and I spoke about it earlier, to change the tier levels, but not change the dues. And this would put the organization in a worse position, as what was happening is that prior to now, when your gross national income got to $5,000 US, you would move from tier C to B. What this amendment is seeking to widen that gap and say you would not move until you got to $10,000 US. So you see the organization would be in a much worse position because persons would be staying in the lower tier for a much longer time. And so the widened band would not be to the Kiwanis International advantage. Amendment 8 speaks to remote voting, and persons can vote remotely. And I support and would even extend this amendment to the district. Because as it is now, if you are not registered at the district convention, you have no say, no vote. And I think that clubs should be able to attend the district convention on the day of the plenary to express their vote. I know that this may not satisfy my good friend Edwin from the Bahamas, the convention guru, and their agenda. But to me, what makes you a good Kiwanian that is not in breach of anything is not that you did not attend the district convention. So you're in good standing regardless of whether you attend the district convention. And therefore, if you're in good standing as a member of Kiwanis International, you should have a vote, and there should be provisions for you to exercise that franchise. The Amendment 9, I think the current bylaws are adequate to address that. You know, there is no doubt that the viability of the organization must be addressed to preserve its sustainability. We need to be assured, however, that the organization is taking all the necessary steps to cut any unnecessary fat in the administration and to arrive at a lean, mean machine. And this must be achieved without sacrificing quality and deliverables. So the question then is, how do clubs face the challenges going forward? And I'm about to get in hot water, but I would posit that a relook is necessary now, as a number of our clubs are misguided and wrong focus, which leads to them holding on to some situations that are untenable or just plain unhealthy. The question is, why do several clubs continue to send monies to international and the district? Money that is unnecessary and cannot be recovered. You know, some clubs continue to pay for members who do not exist. Persons who are or have shown that they are disinterested. However, in our quest to be determined as distinguished, we carry millstones around the necks of many of our clubs. And it amounts to almost buying the status. So I am suggesting, President, that we must return to reality and let clubs' membership be a true reflection of clubs in service, but not serving individuals. So when we look at all these amendments, we cannot look at them in isolation, but have to examine the genesis of their origin, what they are designed to solve. The tier system was a genuine attempt to level the playing field for you and make membership more widely affordable. And so I think that we must continue to have a tier system, and even if it goes to 2, it's better than having none, because the reality is that there is a wide disparity in the earning powers right across the district. I really think that the consultative process needs to be improved. As it is now, what we have is the board coming up with positions based upon the elected members who comprise that board. And I don't see where these members are consulting with us, the constituents, to gauge our thought process and to hear what we have to say before going to Kiwanis International and approving or proposing certain things. And I think if we had that consultation before, it would be a much easier way of going about things like amendments to our constitution. I think, President, that representative on the board should do some soundings of the position of the clubs and the individuals. And I think it would make for a much more acceptable result. So yes, I said that the amendments are not something that we have to accept. But the reality is that because of increased costs to produce what Kiwanis used to produce all along, it is necessary for the organization to have increased income. So in a nutshell, KI is in an unsustainable position, and they are intent on getting more money from its members. And justified or not, we face increases in the cost of membership in the organization. An organization that is known, revered, and result-oriented. So by invitation, I have attempted to convey my interpretation and my leanings on these matters. But be reminded that it is meant to stir further discussion, heighten awareness, and to encourage participation. I know that the KI convention is on in earnest, and so there might not be much time for us to continue this discussion. But I hope that I have sought to bring to light some of the things that I think is needed for the discussion. And what I would say to you that because Jamaica was moved from tier C to B last year, they are already paying $34. And so to move us now to tier 2, my interpretation is that it will not affect us because we would be still required to pay the $34 that we paid last year. So that, if true, is good news and something that we should take away. So, President, I am open to have a small discussion if necessary, but I am, as stated in the outset, in favor of amendment number 1? President?
Hearing you loud and clear, PDT. Hearing you loud and clear.
Okay. May I come in here?
That concludes your presentation.
Could you say that again?
We just
Does
wanted
that conclude your presentation, PDT?
Yes, I was inviting a little discussion now. If there are any questions, any contributions.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
There is a hand up.
We'll master that. Okay.
Right. Okay. Yes, there is a hand up. PDT. It's LG. It's Beverly Thompson. Hi. I got you. Go right ahead, babe. Go right ahead.
Okay, thanks, Siri, and good evening to everybody online. At first, I mentioned that this is a good topic, but Raleigh, thank you so much for your presentation. But I'm just wondering, though, how timely this presentation is. And you said it in the end, that tomorrow's convention starts in earnest tomorrow, and the delegates are going to vote. And, I am just thinking that at our last at our convention, our convention in Montego Bay recently, I never got the sense of us discussing these amendments at the forum that this was down for. We spoke about them, but it was kind of rushed to me. That's my personal feeling. Right? We weren't able to go through and really feel that we have really, the topic has been exhausted and persons feel that, okay, we're going forward as a district to the convention with everybody on one accord with what we're going with. Because the due situation is so important. Whether or not we go with the amendment, is it amendment 1 or whichever amendment is going to take where dues are concerned, we're going to have an increase. It's just a matter of how much. Because I sat in Sue Peterson's debate the other evening, and that's exactly what she also said. There is going to be an increase. Now, for us here in Jamaica, and I can speak of Jamaica, that's going to mean, whether it's a little bit or big, it's going to mean, to the clubs, they're going to feel that, look, this is getting too much. What do we have in place to prevent clubs feeling distressed and concerned about, yes, the dues going to increase? How am I going to manage? How are our members going to manage? Because as it is now, some of them not paying the dues at all. So when it increases, we're going to have a fallout. So
I agree with
and I'm thinking, you see, Raleigh, that maybe what we might have to do, the LGs, we have to call a meeting of all the clubs, and I'm not talking only Division 23 East or, segregated in the division. We come together as Jamaica, online or whatever, and we go through this discussion, because it's going to affect everyone. And right now, clubs are struggling. Can you imagine? Whichever amendment is made where dues are concerned, it's going to affect us. Okay, so we have to really look at it.
Let me thank you for your input. Right. And you are correct in your observation that amendments come and go, and we don't really discuss them and their implications in any detailed manner, unless it personally. But I stand corrected. But with the movement from tier C to B, that took effect, was it last year? We started to pay $34. Am I correct?
That's correct.
Yeah. And so putting us now in tier two, we will still pay $34. So we in Jamaica will not see an increase in dues. That's my interpretation, and I'm not challenging Sue, but I am just going by what is black and white. As to how clubs make their voices heard, Kiwanis has a system where the clubs have their leadership. The leadership has division leadership. Then you have your district trustees. And we have to just use that system and ensure that we choose persons who have the capacity to speak fearlessly, when they go to these meetings, because I am not taking things out of the board, but I've been to board meetings and you don't know some people are present until the roll call, And so I think that, if we love
district board meetings, Raleigh? District board meetings.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if we love the organization, we must have an input, and our input, even if it rock the boat, it's not necessarily bad for the organization. So that's how I would go about it.
Is that okay, Bev?
Yes, I hear what Ronson is saying, and I agree with him. But maybe we need to really get it in action. I suppose we can wait until the convention is over and we see where we are. And then we can say, okay, let's come together and discuss. Because I'm really concerned about at the club level, how it's going to affect each club. As you said, Raleigh, there might not be an increase for us, but just in case, because Sue Peterson, as I mentioned before, what she said, but just in case.
Is that the only way we can have a say is to go to these conventions. But with a proposal now to have remote voting and all of that, which I support, then maybe you'll have a wider participation.
Yeah. I hope they vote for that one.
Okay.
All right. Thank you very much. Yes.
Sure, Bev. Thank you for your contribution. Let me just a quick one. DP Rupert, could you just check your WhatsApp, please? I hope you're hearing me. Okay. I noticed that DLG Willie has his hand up. Go right ahead, DLG Willie.
DP Stewart?
Yes, sure.
Before you call on DLG Willie, I'm asking a member of the Kiwanis Club of Kingston to move for an extension of 10 minutes for us to conclude our business.
So move.
And seconded.
Okay, move by DLG Willie, seconded by DP Stewart. Okay, DLG Willie, I think PD Stewart had just pointed to you for the next question.
Thank you. Thank you, President Newton. Let me first of all commend past District Trustee Ralston an excellent presentation. But when I've been through these proposed amendments, what we need to look at is the financial impact from the board's point of view. Amendment 1, they say is going to bring in a projected additional revenue of $4 million annually. Whereas if we look at Amendment 2, it is speaking to a reduction, but not much more than just under 50,000 US dollars. Now, my thoughts in this matter, if we look back at Amendment 1, the increase of clubs in Tier B is where we are now existing 34 to 50. Now, how many of our members can absorb an increase of 16 US dollars?
That's exactly what I do.
One more point, PRG. I rather like the thought of going back to 2 tiers, reducing from 3 to 2. But my reading into this, although I don't understand a different, that the proposed change from 2 tiers A, B, and C to tier 1 and tier 2 is that if Kiwanis clubs in Jamaica are currently in tier B are placed in tier 2, the dues is 23, but that is going to be affected by or adopted as part of either proposed amendment 5 or 6. Now, I'm a bit more concerned about the ability of our Kiwanis to pay. We are losing members, and in most cases, it is an ability to pay, or it is not their priority. And when they become a member, dues payment become second-hand. What I would like to support, whereas I believe PRG Ralston, you like to support tier 1, amendment 1. I would rather like amendment 2. Over to you.
That amendment 2, what amendment 2 seeks to do?
That is to reduce the number of tiers from A, B, 1, 2, and 3 to 2 tiers, A and B.
So really, remember, if you accept amendment 1, it doesn't take amendment 2 off the table.
Correct.
And amendment 1, when it speaks to $23, that is what clubs in tier C would be paying now, but the proviso with that $23, which you saw with the asterisk,
right,
it will go to the increase that is approved in the other amendments, and the lowest is $34.
Right. So
as a one-off increase, the others might be over a period of time.
Be more.
Can
be more.
Yeah.
Can be more.
But I said there was a little bit of disingenuity, and I don't know if it's the right word, but in that present, because as it is now, clubs in tier C will face an increase because they will be placed in 2, and the increase will take them from $23 to $34.
All right. Okay.
And so I am just saying that we are already in that.
You're already.
Yeah.
Okay.
A question for you, PDT. Is there any other region in Kiwanis globally that has the kind of growth that the Caribbean has, that the ECNC has?
Yes, with the primary Asia.
No? Yeah.
They show growth.
Asia, you said Asia?
Yeah, it's certainly not in North America.
Yes.
I dare say it's not in Canada also. The growth that ECNC is experiencing is growth from the Caribbean. And I don't know if anybody would challenge me on that, but I think I'm on firm grounds.
Why I ask this because I think that should give us some leverage in terms of, the things that impact us. And since we are not really as rich as the other developed world countries. So I don't know if we're using, I don't know what the dialogue is at that level, but it would seem that is something that we should, that's our leverage.
But that was a leverage that was used in 2003 to establish the tier due system, because prior to that it was right across the board. So there was a balancing based on your gross national income.
Right, right.
What brought about the tier system. So moving from 3-tier now, administratively, they are saying, it's much easier to manage. But they are still hoping to hold on to the tier system in recognition of that disparity that you spoke to.
Yeah, I just want to say to you, I just feel that we have not had enough input, enough voices were not heard for all, discussions leading up to convention and the voting that's going to happen during this week. It's like our voices are lost. We're lost.
Somebody have to generate that voice.
Yeah, and that's my biggest concern. I recall in 2015, Ralston, you were the voice that went up there at convention. You remember when we wanted to get the ease on our dues, and it happened. But you were the voice that you recall. That
I recall that.
And spoke out.
So is this supposed to come from the club level? All right, where is this leadership supposed to come from? Because I understand what you're saying, babe, but I just want to know.
Well, you see,
who is dropping the ball, or is it just who is supposed to take the lead?
I know Ralston is more experienced than me with these things, but I just, from my experience in Kiwanis, I recall when we were having conventions, especially district conventions, with the amendments being put forward, it comes out to the clubs early. Clubs look at it and they would discuss at their board meeting and with their members, what area of this do you would love to see there a change? And so the clubs would then have a voice there. And then that would then go to our division, where it's also taken up again and discussed. So we're moving on to now at the district level. So at the division level, we all come to one decision as to where we would want to see things going. Then to the district level, and correct me if I'm wrong, Ralston, at the district level now, where it gets a little more, our representatives would speak up for us as to
the district trustee has a major role to play.
Right.
That sense, and I hasten to say that this keeping them on fire. But I'm hearing on the board, but my Lord can't blaze a fire.
Right. And so what Stu is saying now is asking, where does this decision, where do we have this voice? How do we, because you get the feeling that once it reaches the district level, it's like, okay, whatever we coming from the clubs to the division, then through to the district, might just get lost along the way because we don't hear our voice going over to international based on how we were thinking from club to to division level. So it's like it just get lost. Because at the DCM, at the convention, district convention, it really, our voices were, I don't know if you feel the same way about convention of what happened with when we were discussing the amendment. It was like it was like by rote. You're going through reading, and there was not much discussion.
I was in that room, and it was like a rush. We have to get out of here in 10 minutes.
And we never even heard at the end what were the resolutions that were passed. Give us a comprehensive overview of what took place.
And a big rush because something else was happening. And I think that these are some of the things that we need to concentrate on. Not only at district, but at your divisional council meeting. We need to discuss these issues. I'm all for clubs making reports and saying, the good things that they have done, which is expected. But then the governance of the organization must be uppermost in our mind.
Right. And another thing, Bronson, that I think clubs, and we have presidents online. The clubs need to know how important it is that when amendments come to us through our presidents in the clubs, it warrants a discussion with the members, the board, and then to the members, and then moving on from there. So everybody feels a part of and understand. Because a lot of Kiwanis, if you ask them about the amendments, and did you see the amendment? Did you see what we're gonna have there? Did your club discuss? Nobody even knows. Some of them, nobody knows what it was all about. So just fly through.
And this should be one of the things that make your meeting interesting.
Yep. So there we go.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, I don't see any more hands up. Is there anyone else who would like to contribute? But let me just ask this last question. You said, Raleigh, I think you said that we are already in tier 2, right? And that the move to
no, back up. We are in tier B.
Okay, B, yes. Let me use the letters.
The amendment that proposed putting B and C into what will be now tier 2.
Okay. So, but you are saying you don't have a problem with the condensing it from 3 tiers to 2. I think I heard you say that.
In a sense, yes.
So what would we be fighting against if we are accepting that 2 tiers? Let's work with 2 tiers, and we are already in the upper tier. What would we be fighting against? I just want to get that clear in my head.
I don't really think we are fighting against anything per se, Stuart.
Okay.
I'm just trying to ensure
add clarity.
Yeah, and clarity I am getting is that because we were moved already.
Oh, we kind of lack of this. We're just going along.
No, well, we never cry out last year because you move through the tiers based on your gross national income. And our GNI went above $5,000, which was triggered the move. As a matter of fact, went above it for a couple of years. So the move, it never triggered right away. So in about 3 years.
Okay.
Stuart, there's just one more question I want to ask.
Go right ahead. Go right ahead, please.
I just want to know, so Ronnie, if we go into the 1 tier, if say we go to tier 2, you are saying the analysis is that we will not have any increase. It won't impact us, right?
No.
So
agree.
KI stands to lose from us in the district.
Yeah, but how many persons, how many divisions will be going through that? I don't think there's much division in tier C, No. I don't think it reaches 20. But that is a balancing out there, because those who are currently in tier C and paying $23, this amendment will move them up to pay $34, so they would be affected by the increase.
Yeah, okay. Okay, let's wait and see.
Okay, one more hand is up, but we can make this the last one. I think DP Chris is up. His hand is up.
Thanks, TP Stuart. No, just for clarification, do we still have these caucus meetings when we go to international convention? I haven't been to a convention for a couple of years, and I would think that certainly at the international convention, the district will have a caucus meeting for the district to have an agreed position. Or are you saying that because nothing was really done at the district convention, it might be very difficult for there to be a district position at the international convention. I just inquiring.
Yeah, first of all, you run away from us because Beryl was coming, but it's every convention when they're going to have amendments should have a caucus, whether at the district level, international level, because that is where we have the discussion. So it would be good if we had that caucus at the district so that the district can be informed of what the members within the district are thinking.
True.
And that would be what would inform their position when they go to the international. But also remember, that as members, we have a vote at international. Every Kiwanian have a vote at international. So the caucus, again, is important because it explains the persons. And so we can come to a common position and inform how we vote.
Ronnie, sorry, just explain that again. You said everybody has a vote at international, but isn't it through your district? That's what you meant? Everybody has a vote through the district delegates?
No, but or
Come
do
on,
all delegates
can
or
vote.
do
Ah.
all delegates don't all
Oh,
delegates
delegate.
vote?
No, that's not just want to make. No, when he said that, I'm thinking persons listening might think it's everybody has a vote, but I suppose you're meaning the delegates.
The delegates
who are representing their
clubs.
Their district through their clubs through the district.
I misspoke. I meant delegates because the delegates.
Okay, all right, no problem, Ralston. Yeah.
All
right, thanks.
Outset it that the delegate vote is really should be the club's vote.
Yeah.
Even if I said the thing red and the club said no, it's yellow. My integrity demand that I vote yellow. So representing the club.
Yeah, I'm just very happy for this conversation, and quite a few clubs are on, but for us to really understand how important it is when it comes to this time of the year, for us to really get serious with our voting and what we want starting from the club level. So thanks again, Rolly.
Thank you to Bev.
Okay, President Newton, back to you.
Thank you, DP Stuart. I thought you were going to have a vote of thanks.
Yes, we do. But okay, let me tell you, it's DP Rupert is going to do it. You could invite him to do it, please.
Okay, and I know DP Rupert is on because I saw him early on. So I know PDT Ralston is one of our own, but when you do good work, it needs to be recognized. So DP Rupert, we'd love for you to do the vote of thanks to PDT Ralston for us, sir.
I am very weird when you choose Rupert president because Rupert sometimes tend to needle me.
Yeah, but one thing with him, he's fair and he's balanced. So that's why we choose him.
Well, thank you so much. This is one of the few times that I said, Lord, thank you for the great matter that is between PDT Ralston 2 years. Because this evening it made a lot of sense. Sometimes I don't know what he's talking about. But this evening I really appreciate so much. PDT, what you have done this evening is very important. Even though it came a little bit late, I'm going to suggest that as the years go by, you, because of your experience, you just before KI convention, you bring us up to date, because probably that's the only way we're going to get some of the information. But thank you so much, sir. You did yourself proud. And if I were you,
I will consider this one a star in the council. Don't know if we're going to be giving you anything. We consider it a privilege to give you certificates, but you have gotten so many. President, I don't know, put some coloring on this one as you give it to him, because he did us proud. Thank you on behalf of all of us, PDT.
Yes,
Next time you get the mic.
The certificate is there.
Next time you get the mic, remember tonight. The certificate is here, sir. On behalf of the Kiwanis Club of Kingston, thank you. Thank you. You will get it signed and delivered, sir.
You're welcome, sir.
First, back to you.
Contribute something to, I do it with a lot of passion. I love this club dearly.
I know that, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, DP Rupert. Thank you, PDT Ralston. And I concur with DP Rupert that we should have people like PDT Ralston on more often. Because he's a member of the Kiwanis Club of Kingston, I tend to get the benefit of his knowledge a little more than a lot of other people, because at the end of meetings we sit and we chit chat and I learn a whole lot. But I like you, sir, believe that we should have more of these forums where people like PDT Ralston pass on the knowledge that they have, because some of us we're going along and we really don't realize the full extent of what we're dealing with.
I want to remind you that I live in Stony Hill, and if I don't mention the Kiwanis Club of Stony Hill, I might not be able to come home. So
okay, and I see LDG Sharon listening to hear if you do.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Beryl is enough of a surge for us right now, so I think the surge can take a rest this week. So we'll move on to notices and announcements and interclubbing opportunities with DLG Willie Reason.
Thank you, President. Regarding notice and announcement, there are none really. Hopefully we can have a planning committee meeting next week to discuss the upcoming National Dance Theatre Company benefit performance. That's on July 27th. At the Little Theatre at 8 p.m. Cost of tickets is $3,000. I've also extended the invitation to a number of clubs, including Kiwanis Club in New Kingston, to participate with us, and they have gladly accepted our invitation. But members, we need your support. We need you to take at least 4 tickets each. Those of you who are on the call, take at least 4 tickets and send them for me. The club needs the funds, so we're hoping we can get a relatively good turnout of members and guests on that evening. That's July 27th, 8 p.m., Little Theatre. Next week, we haven't decided on a date, but we'll have a meeting to not only discuss that, we will be discussing or trying to close off the Barbie Fly collections. So far, we're probably we're projected a profit of some $500,000, but that is going to be dependent largely on the collection of all outstanding tickets. In terms of notices and in terms of interclubbing opportunities, I will advise the members in the morning. If we're given a chance to, we'll barrel around and advise you of the interclubbing opportunities, certainly for next week, because I don't think there's much possibility of doing any for the rest of this week. Thank you, President.
President.
Thank you, DLG Willie. And I'd like to invite any other club online. If you have any notices or announcements, please go ahead and make them now.
District Trustee Ross, I'm trying to get your attention.
If the LGD is online, she might want to make an announcement about some upcoming training.
Okay, LGD Sharon, I'm sure I saw you earlier on. Are you still on? Okay, she may not be on.
Okay.
If she comes on before we sorry?
The training takes place on the 13th, if I'm
That's
correct.
correct. Yeah, that's
And
correct.
it's what they call the training of the Big Five. And it's not the Big Five that Chris and them people know about. It's 5 members are essential to the operation of the club. Willie Mike can name them, the president, the all
President,
incoming.
President, Secretary, Treasurer, and a membership growth chairman. President, President-elect, Secretary, Treasurer, and membership growth chairman.
And it will take place at the Betting Gaming and Lottery Commission.
That's correct.
Which,
9 o'clock.
is controlled by one of our members, Clovis.
Right. What date is that, PDT?
13th.
Saturday, July 13th.
Okay, good. That's week after next. Okay, thank you. Are there any other announcements?
Well, yes, President, just like make an announcement on behalf of our President Erica and the fundraising committee. We're having, this is New Kingston, Kiwanis Club of New Kingston. We're having our Seafood Friday 2 on July 19. And if you all recall, the first one was fabulous. And it's of Miss May fame, Hellshire, Miss May, fried fish, steamed fish, curry shrimp, garlic shrimp, and all of the nice things. So, and it's only, the tickets vary in terms of what dish you will want to take. So we need to know, starting from 3,000 up to 4,000 for garlic lobster. All others are $3,000 each. You can't beat that. So we're really looking forward to your support. It's going to be at Police Officers Club. Again, I say July 19, starting from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. And then there's a lime after, where we will have lots of spirits available for you to come and join us. I know that's Ralston laughter. Yeah. So we're looking forward to the usual support from Kingston Club. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And we certainly will support.
Thank you, Fred.
What day of the week? What day of the week is July 19th? Friday?
It's a Friday, yeah.
Okay.
Friday.
Okay.
Yeah.
Seafood. It's Seafood Friday.
Friday, yeah.
Yes, that's right. Seafood Friday. Okay.
All right.
I
Any
will
other
endorse,
announcements?
President, if I may, I can endorse what DP Bev just said. I was present last year and it was lovely. We had some lovely fish last year.
Thanks, Willie.
Okay, great. Any other announcements?
Sorry, between what hours? Between what's the range of hours?
Okay.
11 to 4.
Right, 11 to 4. And
11
then,
a.m. to 4 p.m. and then a lime
and
after.
then 6 to 7. Just 1 hour of lime and fun. Liming and fun after that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not seeing DP Marcel online. Is DP Marcel online?
No, he wasn't.
All right.
Not since evening.
I will just give his quote for the week. And the quote that we can use for this week is that hurricane season brings a humbling reminder that despite our technologies, most of nature remains unpredictable. And with that, one thing we can predict is that Hurricane Beryl will be with us in another couple of hours. What the still unpredictable part is exactly what hour. So I think it is now 17 minutes past 9. Again, we apologize for getting going a little bit late, but it was worth being here. And so I at this point, I wish everybody a safe passage through Hurricane Beryl, and that you will be with us again next week to tell us the tales of your near misses. So at this point, 17 minutes past 9, I'm going to ask you all to raise your glasses and raise a toast to Kiwanis International Jamaica land we love, and we hope that Jamaica land we love will be intact tomorrow and Thursday and Friday, because Beryl will just have been like a little wind crossing us. So at this time, this meeting of the Kiwanis Club of Kingston is now terminated.